Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market report for Wednesday, October 10th, 2018. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Here's something I really continue to watch very closely. We've talked about the potential of a major pullback in this market if price cannot maintain acceptance above the 28.78 half. That's this level right there. It comes all the way across. It's the prior highs. We've been sitting above these highs. A failure to get to new highs here to begin the month and a pullback. You can see we're below the monthly pivot range. That can happen, but at times price needs to start getting back above it very quickly like it did here and continued higher. Overall, this is the level, and we can get a little bit lower. I've mentioned before we can even get down into 28.60, 28.65, and then be a great squeeze back up to recent highs. But it has to happen rather quickly, and right now this market doesn't appear to have the juice or the want to push any higher right now. It's been very heavy. It's continued to push lower. This behavior does not look particularly bullish at this time. It's really struggling to find a strong low. It's struggling to find great areas of absorption. It just doesn't look the part right now if this was going to push higher. It still could. And the key pivot here is 2900. That's where price stalled yesterday and dropped back off that level. That's a great pivot that if price were to push above it, it could be a great stop run day back up and back to the 29.27 half key level. But again, this market looks very heavy. I'm suspect because we haven't hit the recent low here, and usually I like to see a rinse of that low and then a return. We haven't done that yet. So this market could still be susceptible to more weakness, and so I'm still watching it very closely here. Again, at some point, if there's a failure to hold that 28.75 on the whole, we could see a move that takes us back to 2700 very quickly, or at the very least 2791s. So we have two major targets down below if this zone can't hold. We're still watching it very closely as it develops here early in the month. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. You'll see the NQ gave us the initial signs that this thing was overdue, and tech, especially cloud-based services, those types of companies really got hit. We saw a major rotation lower in Amazon as well. All of this led to some weakness here. You can see the 7700 level up here, the level we've been talking about for the last week, as being an area to defend as a seller for a shot at seeing 7400 and maybe 7350. That move is come and gone now, and bulls are still trying to find a strong low. And so again, this market is not showing the type of strength or the type of rejection you would like to see on these lows that would suggest a return higher at this time. So again, still watching. It's still developing at the moment. 73.80 right now is a very clear intraday support level. The 73.40 level is the most important level. Failure to hold 73.40 could open up another major rotation downward. At some point, we may see some sort of strong low, and then that would give us a strong bounce back point. Right now, again, struggling to do that. Inside day, sitting right at the previous month's low. Again, this market right now doesn't really show the type of strength it needs to show. But all it takes is one good day, right? One good day where it drives down, fails, and by the end of the day, it closes much, much higher. All it takes is one day to get a major breakout and transition this thing much higher. And so again, when are we going to see that? Still watching for those signs. We have earnings start to come out here later on this week. That could start to open things up a little bit. We'll see how that plays out. Here's a look at crude oil. You'll notice right here with crude oil, this one's also showing some initial signs of weakness while bulls continue to maintain overall control. 75.27, the previous key range high. I mentioned yesterday 75s is the zone. Between 75 and 75.27, the zone where bears want to defend. In an attempt to keep that high intact, lower high here, and perhaps a push below the previous low. That could take you down to 72, 73, somewhere in that zone. But again, we've been trending higher. This pullback has been defended, and bulls likely to keep this thing pushing higher, and those stops start to come out above 75, 75.27s. So again, that's kind of the zone that's in play right here. This market's been very strong overall. since August, and the market structure continues to remain bullish. But this 27 zone, the 75 27s, that's an area to watch here as a pivot for crude oil moving forward. Let's take a look now at the YM. The YM has pulled back perfectly to this zone right here, which is the pivot range in an uptrending market, higher value relationship. This again looks the part. It looks like it wants to go higher. It looks like it wants to push above those recent 2 or 3 day highs and really get this thing going. The problem is it's not doing it. It's been, again, very heavy. Right now it's got a super narrow range that's developing. I think it's 100 handles maybe top to bottom, but very tight range right now. And that could open up, again, another major push downward until we find a low. We haven't found the recent low yet. That's that blue line. That's the LVN. Maybe price needs to get a little bit lower before this thing can go higher. So again, all of these markets feeling a little heavy. They definitely look the part, like they could be buy the dip opportunities, but again, we could see another sweep lower if these don't start to go higher very soon. So continue to keep those in mind here. Let's take a look lastly at Bitcoin. You'll notice that Bitcoin here is consolidating at the lows around value. Again, this one is just a waiting game right now. It's just a waiting game. And that's what I mentioned before. Sometimes, you either got to buy and hold down here and just wait it out, or you got to be looking or ready when the breakout does occur, because when it happens it could be significant that day, and then you'll see a follow through by some measure. Again, this is the breakout that's either going to lead to a larger rinse down below 6K, or it's finally going to lead to a push beyond a prior pivot high, this high, or even retest this high. And that has not happened in a year. That has not happened in a year. If you look at Bitcoin here since last December here, this thing has dropped, lower high, 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 drop, lower high, and drop. And here we are. We have not been able to surpass a prior pivot high. So again, just objectively speaking, we're getting descending here. Something's got to give with value there, but it's not likely going to just be easy. This thing, it really needs it. It really needs a huge push. It needs confirmed buying, and right now that just hasn't happened. And maybe when the time does come, it's going to be due to a major stop rinse, and now these prices are so good that you see some sort of turnaround. So again, continue to watch Bitcoin here at these lows. Really quickly here, again, I am hosting a webinar this evening, 6 p.m. Central, Profiting with Swing Trade Pro. I have released Swing Trade Pro 2.0, and you can learn more about it by clicking this button here. If you go to the news section here, it'll drop you down. Any one of these posts will have the webinar link, but you can click on webinar here or go to the search tab there, and basically this is going to give you the link. You can click on this link at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and that'll pop up the webinar there. We'll discuss the recent sell-off in the NQ and how Swing Trade Pro 2.0 draws it up perfectly to engage that opportunity and other opportunities. So we'll talk about Swing Trade Pro. I'll give you a test drive, a look behind the scenes there to show you what it entails, and we'll also talk a little bit about next week's live trading event. So again, please join me later on this afternoon or this evening, depending on your time zone, 6 p.m. Central Time. We will be talking about profiting with Swing Trade Pro, and I'll also answer all your questions regarding Swing Trade Pro 2.0. I've gotten fantastic early feedback so far, and folks are still coming online right now. And again, looking forward to more feedback from new members. So Swing Trade Pro 2.0, join me tonight. It's going to be a fun time. All right, everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the trading room. Take care.